Well, before I start off, I'd just like to thank you all for once again having me up here tonight. I don't know why you would torture yourself like this, but here I am again. And also I want to thank the Church of Gastonia for just making my time here working with the youth. Just an amazing experience. I love the church so much, and I really love the heart that the church has. Just the love that you have for your members and all the new people that walk in, those who are hurt or needing. I just seen that constantly poured out on me, on others, on your visitors, and it really is an amazing, encouraging experience, and I really do appreciate that. And that actually brings me to my subject of tonight, the heart behind the matter. So to start off, I sort of have a story that about 3 to 4 years ago, I was at Carolina Bible Camp, and I was in the oldest boys cabin. This year we had two new campers that no one's ever seen before, and the reason for it is that they weren't from America, they're from Haiti. Their names were Ashtonette and Paulo. These guys were probably some of the most down-to-earth, loving, caring, kindest people I've ever met. They were amazing in every aspect. At the camp, they were constantly involved, not only in leadership activities, but sports. They worked with me in basketball constantly. They are always involved in class, helping lead discussion, helping lead worship. Back in the cabin, they have a late night devotional type thing, and they're always trying to bring it back to God and keep the focus within the cabin. I guess the experience that's real. They're amazing kids. They really did wear their hearts on their sleeves. As the week went on, we got to know more about these two kids. Yeah, they're from Haiti, so obviously we're all curious about them. So in the cabin, we sort of sat in a circle, and we're all allowed to ask each person one question. So it got around to Ashton and Paul, so we started asking questions like, how's it like to live in Haiti? Where you're from? In the area? How was the earthquake? And that's learned some interesting things, especially in comparison to us. We learned that those kids were from poor parts of Haiti. One lived and grew up in an orphanage. The other was a preacher's son. And they sort of met through church, and they're close friends with that. It was funny when we actually got to speak to them about the earthquake. I said, Paul, who according to Ashton was the loudmouth, how was the earthquake? And he was like, what earthquake? Ha ha ha. He was like, no, really, I was taking a nap, woke up shaking, my house was fine. He lived in more of the countryside area. Asked Paul, completely different situation. He lived in a giant building of sorts, and I was like, how was the earthquake? And what was the first thing that was on your mind was happening? And he was like, well, to be honest, I was sitting down eating a sandwich. And when it happened, my brother grabbed me by the collar and sort of just tossed me out the door. And then luckily they did that because they had enough building damage where things were falling over and just wouldn't end well. And I was like, well, then what was your first thought? And he was like, didn't get to finish that sandwich. And I was like, gee. But so the week went on once again, and at one point during the week, I hung up my hammock, which I forgot to bring. But it's a portable, lightweight camping hammock where it's made of like parachute material, and it has 2 straps on each side. I sort of strapped it to one side of the bunk and to the other and just sat in it. Well, Ashtonette walked in and he was like, whoa, like that's incredible. Like, what is this? I'm like, well, it's a hammock. And he's like, what? Like, how does it work? And I'm like, well, you just open it up, you start sitting in it. And Paul came over and they started freaking out about it. And I was like, well, what's the big deal? And they said, well, where we come from, the best way that we have for a hammock is knitted together with like different types of rope and material, and it's the hammock is displayed open by 2 wooden dials, so just like a traditional hammock. You couldn't really take it anywhere. Well, the one I had, you can put it in a small pouch, and they're amazed by it. They're really just went crazy about it. So that gave me an idea. The rest of the week, me and a few of my friends walked around camp, and we started asking people to make small donations to go get these people these gifts. as buy them hammocks. And so throughout the week, got us money, and eventually, finally, we get enough money needed to go get the hammocks. So Thursday night, we had someone leave, and she went out and went to work. After work, picked up the hammocks, brought them back to us, and we got it back. And that night, we presented to them. I said, Ashley and Paul, the reason that we got these for you is because you guys have been such a profound influence in the camp, great people, and we just love having you here, and we want to give you something as a remembrance by. So I showed them the hammock, and kid you not, like, Paul's face, he's a loudmouth, but went, and nothing came out of it. And Ashley was like, going crazy. So it was really weird reverse cycle there. But to be honest, when it comes to their hearts, I've never seen people more thankful, more loving, more caring than these two kids. Like, to me, like, I got my hammock as a gift. And I was like, oh, cool. And I use it every so often. But they were crazy about this thing. They're like hooting and hollering, and they send Facebook and Snapchat photos every now and then of it, just them chilling in it. And it was a really cool experience, and it honestly impacted my life in the long run to really appreciate what I had. But I guess the point that I have from that is that you see behind every action, thought, and spoken word is backed up by someone's heart. So in the instance of Paul and Ashton, they cared so much about the camp, they had so much thankfulness for all the things that we did for them, that clearly that was reflected on their heart. But there's the opposite spectrum, obviously. So there's a good heart, but at the same time, there's also a bad one as well. You have the bad heart who's constantly doing bad things, seeking destruction, corruption, and to do evil. We all can clearly see that through what they do, obviously. But then there's sort of an in-between, and that's what I really want to focus on tonight. And it's the person that on the outside wants to do good, or looks like they're doing good, and looks like they're doing all these amazing things, they're great people, kind things, but in reality their heart's rotten and just as bad as the extreme on the right. The one that constantly is just trying to do evil and hurt people. So first I just want to turn to Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1. And as we're turning there, I want to discuss that the issue with this heart, and that we're constantly, that's a constantly prevailing issue within the church, is because it's really hard to sort of point this part out. Like I previously described, it's not like the extreme heart, where it's the extremely bad heart, where it's clearly everywhere that we're trying to cause destruction. It's really hard to point out. So turn to Leviticus chapter 10, verse 1 for me real quick. Chapter 10, verse 1 reads, Now Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aaron, each took his censer and put fire in it, and laid incense on it, offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, which he had not commanded them. And fire came out from before the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Then Moses said to Aaron, This is what the Lord has said, Among those who are near me I will be sanctified, and for all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. So now clearly what we see here is that, yes, what they did was wrong. They went against what God commanded them. They weren't honoring God in the proper way. But at its roots, it was a heart issue. Because if they wanted to do what God told them to do, and they obeyed God's will, they wouldn't really have this issue within their heart in the first place. Let's also get to another example real quick. Go to Acts chapter 5, verse 1. We're going to read down to verse 11. So this is particularly talking about Ananias and Sapphira. And if y'all haven't heard of this story yet, it particularly runs about a property deal with Ananias and Sapphira, and where they didn't necessarily be completely honest when it comes to the revenue that they're making and how much they're giving to the church. So let's read it, verse 1. It says, But a man named Ananias with his wife Sapphira sold a piece of property, and with his wife's knowledge he kept back for himself some of the proceeds and brought only a part of it and laid it at the apostles' feet. But Peter said, Ananias, why has Satan filled your heart to lie to the Holy Spirit and keep back for yourself part of the proceeds of the land. While it remained unsold, did it not remain your own? And after it was sold, was it not at your disposal? Why is it that you have contrived this deed in your heart? You have not lied to man, but to God. When Ananias heard these words, he fell down and breathed his last breath. And great fear came upon all who heard of it. The young men rose, wrapped him up, and carried him out of the pit and buried him. After an interval of about 3 hours, his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. And Peter said to her, "Tell me, whether you sold the land for so much?" And she said, "Yes, for so much." But Peter said to her, "How is it that you have agreed together to test the Spirit of the Lord? Behold, the feet of those who have buried your husband are at the door, and they now will carry you out." Immediately she fell down at his feet and breathed her last breath. When the young men came in, they found her dead. They carried her out and buried her beside her husband. And great fear came upon the whole church, upon all who heard these things. I don't know about you, but I'm starting to see a common theme between these characters and relating strictly to their hearts. So I'm going to do one more example real quick. I promise not to keep on going with all these examples. There's clearly so many examples of bad hearts in the Bible. Turn with me, please, to Matthew chapter 26, verse 14. Now, I turned to this example because when I think of bad hearts within the Bible, there's one iconic person that comes to mind, and that would be Judas Iscariot. So we're going to start Matthew chapter 26, reading 14 through 16. And it reads, "Then one of the 12, the one called Judas of Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, 'What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?' So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over." We see here a man who had professed to follow Jesus, believe in God, believe in what Christ is here for, and from all outward appearance does so. And yet, where his heart's true intentions lie is not in Christ, not following him, but in reality is after money and the love of it. See, the sad thing is just like Judas the betrayer, Sapphira, Ananias, and Nadab and Abihu, our hearts and our interests are set up upon other things. Sometimes, whether it's money, our jobs, friends, or even family, we sometimes put our hearts in those positions to where we're following after things that are not of the intentions of God and Christ. And we, just like Judas, carried on this outward appearance of the Christian, when our intentions are nowhere near that. But now another issue is sort of has arisen. If these hearts are so hard to spot, how are we ever able to identify? And I guess the simple question or answer to that question would be is by their fruits. Please turn to Matthew chapter 7, verses 17 and 18. Matthew chapter 7, verse 17 and 18 reads, "Likewise, every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit." This could simply be rephrased as this. Likewise, every good heart bears good things, but a bad heart bears bad things. A good heart cannot bear bad things, and a bad heart cannot bear good things. So, of course, people try to cover this up. They try to put on that mask, put on that face, but no matter what, their actions, what they do, and what they say will eventually come out as bad things. Because no matter how much you shine up that good fruit, dress it up, make it look good, present it to everyone as this good thing. There's no way that it could be good fruit. Whether it comes out in anger, lying, their actions among others, who they're hanging out with, spend their time with, that bad fruit will still present itself. But here's the thing. According to Matthew chapter 6, verse 20 through 21, it says, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will also be. The gruesome part about Matthew chapter 6, verse 20 and 21, that we sometimes clearly overlook, is the fact that anywhere else other than heaven where your heart is, your intentions, your goals, anywhere else it will be destroyed unless it's there, unless it's in heaven, unless it's set up and your intentions and your goals are among God's intentions and goals. So let me go back to the story of Ashmet and Paul, and it's sort of a different aspect of it, you could say. So they obviously did love their gifts. They really, really did enjoy it. But later that day, or on Friday, Mr. Dennis, the head of week 6, called me up to his office and sat me down. And he said, look, you're not really in that much trouble, but we need to talk about a few things. I was like, oh geez, what did I do? So he sits there and says, Coleman, the first issue at hand, it's not that you did anything wrong collecting money and for a good thing. You really shouldn't be doing that at camp. We have a canteen, that's where the money should go. We don't want people stealing from other people. It just causes issues, so just make sure you're not doing that again. I was like, okay, I understand. Won't happen again. He said, all right. So I have a question. I was like, oh, question. All right. He said, so what exactly was your goal with this? With raising money, with buying these kids Vinos? I was like, okay. Well, I told him the whole story, the experience that I have with these kids and their influence on the camp and what they've been doing. And I basically told him that we really wanted to give them something to remember us by, and also I just wanted to make sure that they understand how much we care and love them. He said, okay. Well, here's my next question. Why didn't you just give them yours? And I sat there for a few minutes and thought, like, why didn't I give them mine? And he eventually told me I could leave, and I did. And that question stuck with me for the rest of the week until I went home and finally come to the realization that the reason that I went around getting these things and gathering money wasn't because I truly cared about these people and loved them so much, but was because I wanted to do something for them. I wanted to do a great thing in the sight of the camp. I wanted to make these people happy because of what I wanted to do. See, I never really took into the concept of it. I really did care and love these people and understand that what I have isn't really what mine. Then why didn't I just give them mine? What is mine? Why didn't I just give them my hammy, my. But I didn't realize that because my heart's intention was on satisfying my image, satisfying how people viewed me, satisfying on how I wanted those people to feel, not necessarily what God wanted in that situation. But here's the thing, is that even now, people still try to hide it just like Judas, just like Ananias, and just like Abiah. just like I did at camp. So that we constantly try to put on this mask as the Christian when our hearts don't line up with our actions, don't line up with what we say, don't line up with our thoughts. And what I urge everyone to do here tonight is really to evaluate your heart. Because sometimes we get caught up in not necessarily doing what God wants, not necessarily doing what God intends for us, but doing what we want. And we sort of justify that with saying, it's a good thing. Instead of really evaluating and see the condition that our heart is in. So I urge anyone tonight, as we stand and sing, to really evaluate where their heart is, and if their heart isn't in the correct place, to realign themselves, to seek after Christ and His